Hi, I'm Phil Jump, NWBA Regional Minister, and welcome to the latest of our updates for leaders that we're offering during this time of crisis. We've identified 6 key priorities that we think you might want to keep in focus over the weeks and months ahead. The first of those is to look after your congregation, and this is the first of the updates that we're going to offer to help you think about that a little bit more fully. And there are 3 basic things that you might want to think about doing at the moment. The first is network. Most of you have probably already done this, but it's important to try and set up some kind of structure to keep people in contact with one another in the days and weeks ahead. It doesn't need to be complicated. It might be something as simple as a ringing round rota to make sure everyone is contacted at least once a week. But remember that it needs to be a two-way network so that people are able to communicate with you, able to communicate their needs, their concerns, and their greetings and their reasons to celebrate in the days ahead. Make sure they can feed that back through the network so that others can join in and share with them. So the simple question you need to ask yourself as leaders is, are we sure that when we say something important that everybody gets to hear it and it reaches all of the people that we want it to reach? And also, are we sure that everyone knows how to contact us and feels that they can contact us if they need to? But also, try and be a catalyst for people contacting one another. Don't just become the kind of bottleneck or the hub through which all the communications have to flow. Think about how you can foster relationships across the church and congregation. The second thing to think about is platforms. So you're basically in touch with everyone, but how can you develop your ways of connecting well? What are the communication platforms that you can use? Now, some churches will already have things like Facebook groups and other things in place, so this may be the moment when they come into their own. But how inclusive are they? How can you help those who can to connect with them? And how can you help those who can't to still feel connected? You know, one of the great advantages we have in our technological age is that we have so many ways of being able to stay in touch through the internet. We've got Skype, we've got YouTube, we've got Microsoft Teams, we've got Zoom, to name but a few. But there's also a disadvantage in that because we sometimes might just not know where to start. Each have got their own benefits and drawbacks. Each will all need some level of competence to use them. So maybe the place to start is what you're most familiar with. But also stop and think about what is the most accessible platform for the people that you want to reach. And I think you may need to be a little bit proactive in this respect. There are likely to be a cohort of members in your congregation who could easily set up accounts and IDs with some of the providers, but they've never felt the need to before. So perhaps a key task is to use that basic communications network to try and now find out what are the communications tools people have and what are the ones that they could sign up to if you encourage them to do that. And that means you also need to think about which ones you're going to use so they know the right ones to look for. Don't try and use everything. Stick with something you feel reasonably able to use. You can always develop things further as the weeks go by. And this is the moment for the techies and the teachers in your church to come into their own. Some of us are going to need help getting this kind of stuff up and running. Now, I'm fortunate to be part of a team, and I've also got family members who are quite techie savvy. So I've had their help to get myself up and running with people to coach me very often on the other end of the phone as I'm trying to do that. Explaining to me what I need to do, helping me press the right buttons at the right time until I'm feeling reasonably comfortable with it. And it might be worth trying to get some people to do the same in your congregation. Remember that you cannot visit those who are isolating, but if there are people in the church who've got that right mix of patience and technical ability, they could maybe get on the end of the phone and get someone up and running with one of these packages. Don't be afraid to ask people. I remember some time ago in my own church, I was really struggling with my PC, with my laptop, and one of the guys in the church who's particularly good at this sorted it all out for me, and I kind of apologised to him for being so hopeless. And he said, listen, he said, if there weren't people like you in the world, I wouldn't have a job. I'm delighted to do it. So don't be afraid to ask your techies to help people out. And the third area I also think you need to think about is content. What are you going to say through all these newfound channels of communication? Okay, for the first week or two it'll probably be enough of a novelty for people to just have fun and connect with one another and to share all these new toys that they've got. But novelty wears off, so what are you going to say then? Besides which, as a church leader, part of your calling is to offer some purpose and direction to God's people, not just arrange online chat rooms for them. Now that's going to bring its own pressures. Alongside learning all this new technology, that you're still going to need time to reflect, to pray and to study God's Word. Now there's no point in having a shiny new church YouTube channel if you've then got nothing to say through it. So that's the reason why we as NWBA are trying to put some content together now, so that at least you've got something to point people to as they get used to using this technology. And then with time, as you get up and running, you can probably add your own material to that. But at least we've tried to put something there for you to get you started. But you do need to bring your own steer and vision to that. So perhaps you need to build into your planning for the next couple of weeks time to talk with the other leaders, to listen to God, to listen to God's Word, to listen to God's people, and to just think things through. What is it we want to share with the church in these next few months? How do we want to grow in our discipleship, in our relationship with God and with our relationships with one another at this time? And actually you might find that thinking about some of those things brings some welcome relief to endlessly trying to work out why your webcam won't work properly. So that's it for now, and in our next video we'll maybe think about some of the material that's out there and how you can use and how you can curate it. Thanks for listening.